Welcome back. This is Randy, and this is Ragamuffin Messages of Faith. And we're going to talk about a seed. How small? Let's get to it. So, a seed how big? I'm sure you've all heard the stories and the sermons about the size and the comparison of a mustard seed to the mountain of trial or things that are in front of you. And I don't really want to go over that again. I was reading a little story here, and I thought that would be a better explanation, and it kind of touched me, and so I'm going to share that with you. I hope you'll indulge me in reading you some of it, because I don't want to get it wrong and I don't want to forget something that's good. But just how much faith, and how faith, just a little bit of faith, can affect your life, can affect your outlook, your ministry, your family, your friends, your work, your school. See how that works? I think that this is appropriate. So, and there is a movie based on this story, and I'm not ruining it for you. It's a historical fact you could look up anywhere, but these are facts. And we're going to talk about a man named Desmond Doss. He was alive and entered the World War II in the Pacific Theater. He was a skinny kid from Lynchburg, Virginia, and because of his faith and because of deeply held values, he wanted to sign up because he believed in the cause, but his faith wouldn't allow him to kill people. He couldn't be on the delivery end of a gun. And nevertheless, he enlisted in the Army, and he learned to be a combat medic so that he could do his part. And the Army, they wanted nothing to do with him. You know, in fact, they talk about this in the movie and in several books about the guy. They made his life hell during training, and it started out as harassment and ended up full-on abuse. They talked to him, and they thought of him as a slacker, and they didn't think he should be there. In fact, his commanding officer, he and his commanding officer were having a discussion, probably one of the many, and he told his commander, "Don't ever doubt my courage, because I'll be right by your side, saving life while you're taking life." And his commanding officer's response to it was, forgive the language, but this is a direct quote. He said, "You're not going to be by my damn side if you don't have a gun." But as much as they tried, they couldn't discourage him and get him out. In fact, his commander tried to transfer him somewhere else. Couldn't do it. So in Okinawa, he served as a medic, as a non-combatant medic. Didn't carry a weapon. And in a battle at the top of a plateau where the U.S. military was trying to get to the top of that plateau, the Japanese had heavily surrounded it with caves and booby traps, and they were armed to the teeth at the top. The U.S. soldiers scaled this hill called Hacksaw Ridge, and he went with them because that was his job. And under the explosions and the gunfire and just what you could imagine war is like, the melee of bodies and blood and injured and dying soldiers, he crawled around on his belly from one wounded soldier to another. And he would drag them back to the edge of the ridge, tie a rope around them, and lower them down to the medics that were waiting in the group down below, out of direct gunfire. Later, Doss was quoted to say, "I just kept praying, Lord, please get me one more." Another veteran who was there on the ridge and survived, he was there and he said, it's as if God had his hand on Doss's shoulder. It's the only explanation I can give. That day, that campaign, he saved 75 men, including the captain that had told him he wouldn't be by his side with a gun. In just 12 hours, 75 men. And his captain later said, and then to have him end up saving my life. That's the irony of the whole thing. I don't think Doss's faith was any bigger than the mustard seed. And it was no bigger than anybody else's, yours or mine. He just faced a challenge that he believed in and knew he had to walk through. He just did it. And he had faith. How big is it? Well, it sounds like it's irrelevant how big your faith is because of how big God is. Something to think about today. Glad you're here. I hope you'll come back as we keep going. Ragamuffin Messages of Faith. God bless you all. Have a good weekend. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.